All right. So, gosh, there. So, her description of this Greek god man who she was surprised would be into her, and that he is to this day. In some ways, that negates her argument because part of what she's saying is if you're confident and you put yourself out there, you are going to attract men. What I hear her saying in that segment is, I'm not confident. I'm surprised this man is interested in me, and I'm surprised that he continues to be interested in me to this day. Somehow, it's not an appropriate match. He shouldn't be into me. Um, if she were confident, she would say, I attracted this man. He's really awesome. He happens to be a fitness buff, which seems a little unusual since I'm not, but we connect on so many other levels that that doesn't really matter. And um, he's into me in spite of, or maybe even because of the fact that I'm a large woman. I'm a fat BBW woman, so maybe that's the deal. We have talked about it, or we haven't talked about it, or whatever. Um, and it would be like, whatever. See, look, I told you. You can go out and get one just like I got if you want to. That would have been speaking from a position of strength. And it's interesting because Christine, the author, that's her first name, she sets up the idea of being confident and sometimes undermines her own argument with examples. Not always, but that was one instance where it really stood out for me. Okay. Very, very interesting point about um, why some men are attracted to BBW women. Um, uh, the I've known, well, actually, I've known one who happens to be my ex-husband, and I wasn't BBW when we got together, which is interesting. But every woman he's been with since we split up has been, 250 pounds to 350 pounds, right in there. Um, you know, a nice chunky BBW. And poor guy, every single one of them has had that bariatric surgery, lost weight, and left his ass. I feel so sorry for him because he can't get a fat woman to just sit on the couch with him and watch TV and play Magic the Gathering and be on, SSI and just enjoy, their fat life together. He can't find one, and it's really sad. But anyway, um, uh, I think that, and the other two are my kids. My kids aren't into fat women per se, or BBWs per se, let's put it that way. But they both like girls who are a little bit thick. I mean, if skinny weight on a girl is, let's say, 120 pounds, they're going to like them a little closer to 145, 150, round. Both my boys, like girls who are kind of ethnic, who have darker skin. They both like girls who are Mexican, Puerto Rican, South American, Italian, Portuguese, Latin coloration and Latin background. So. I don't. Is that a fetish? I don't know what it is, but it is a um, not requirement. What's the word? I'm so dysphasic today. I'm having a hard time getting the words out. It's an attribute that they both really like. So yeah, that's a real good question. What comes first, the fact that they like you, the fact that you're fat? It's very hard to figure that out sometimes. Okay, so I forgot this part. You mentioned some men, or maybe even the couples, but certainly some men get off on having fit men get off on having a woman who is not fit, who is BBW. And maybe they would get the same thrill from a woman who was handicapped or, had some other obvious shortcoming. It makes me think of high school and how in high school so many girls, not so many, but I noticed there were girls who always had a best friend who was not nearly as attractive as they were. And I always figured it was because it put them in a better setting. You know, if you're the queen bee and you've got two girls on either side of you as your best buddies who are not as tall, not as pretty, not as confident, not as smart, not as rich, not as whatever. If you, excuse me, if you have the, if you're at the top of the peak, so to speak, and they're down on the lower edges, boy, doesn't that set you in a nice light when you're out with other people? And I think with a man, the dynamic would be different. I think with some men, the dynamic is, oh, aren't I wonderful? I'm magnanimously dating and being with this woman who has an obvious defect, and gosh, that makes me so open-minded. Maybe that's going on. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I need to take my camera out to the street and start asking men these questions, because until your vlog, I just never really gave it that much thought. And it's a huge subject, pardon the pun. Okay, I'm going to look at your video. Now, when you get into the... I'm trying to get some light on my face. Here we go. Okay, when you get into the crux of the matter comments about... just because you have confidence as a BBW, you're going to attract scores of men. No, of course not. And I want to do an entire vlog on confidence, because there's a lot to say about that. But I'm just going to hit a couple of the high points in this, what is turning into a very long video response. Not having confidence is like being in a room where there's a window that's open and a door that's shut, and you can look out the window and you can see people living their lives apparently with ease and engagement and having fun and being comfortable having fun, and you don't quite feel the same way. Maybe you go. Maybe you open the window and you talk to people and you try to interact and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel real and completely fulfilling for some reason. The door in the room is confidence. You need to open that door and then go out. Well, if you open the door and confidence is standing there waiting for you, and you shake its hand, you've only gone so far. You have to actually take its hand, go outside the room, and start to behave under the auspices of confidence who's holding your hand and guiding you. It's a weird analogy. It might not have hit the mark, but the point is you must act and open yourself up. And I gave you a couple examples of stuff that I've done that has changed my perception of an experience. For example, the eating at the Comfort Inn, eating breakfast at the Comfort Inn it was packed. There's all kinds of people, Europeans and businessmen and, fat ladies just like me and little kids and, all different ethnicities. It was a real melting pot of people, and we're all kind of jockeying for position to make our waffles and do this and that. A couple years ago, I would have been in that situation, turned around, I would have turned tail and run back to my room. I wouldn't even have walked in the room. It would have threatened me so much. And the other day, it was no big deal. Just waltz in, look around, actually make an eye contact with people, not necessarily to engage them, but to experience the fact that I was in the room with a bunch of people. Standing there making waffles, kind of, joking with the Asian kid who's standing next to me, the 24-year-old Asian hat to the back, little rich kid, and we're talking, and then here comes a businessman, and we're standing getting coffee, and I think I commented on his hair, which was absolutely beautiful, this gorgeous silver mane of hair, and I made some comment about it, and he smiled and commented back, and it was cool. And then the lady who was kind of running the show, the worker, she was a middle-aged Mexican woman, maybe 10 years older than me, and she had that skin condition where your skin, what Michael Jackson has, Vitaglio, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anyway, her skin was white in places and dark in places. And, she's carried that around her whole life, and I just jumped right into talking to her. She was a very talkative and confident person. Anyway, you could tell once how she ran that room and asked people if they wanted stuff they needed. She didn't need me to like be her friend or anything, but I just jumped right into talking to her, and had a great conversation with her throughout, the whole breakfast experience. Then Abigail and I sat down at the only table where there was a couple of chairs available, and we started having the conversation about confidence that we continued in the car that you saw in my vlog. And it was interesting because I could see the girl next to me. I mean, she was tuning in, man. You could tell she really wanted to say something or experience it somehow. She didn't have the drawback, oh God, I wish these people wouldn't talk so loud. She had the lean forward kind of thing going on. And I'm sorry I didn't speak to her. I wish I had. Because these days, it seems like everyone I speak to is a pleasant experience. I don't know why. Oh, hey, hang on. My husband wants to ask me a question. Yes, darling, what do you want to ask me?
Oh. I was going to ask you if you wanted. I just shared that over to you.
Oh, good. I'll look at it.
So you can look at the Southern Girls.
Okay, say hi to Gabby.
Hi, Gabby.
Okay. All right, there you go. Yeah, my husband just shared this Facebook post. You've probably seen it about the Southern Girl sayings. So I'll share it to you in case you haven't seen it. Anyway, so back to that. So that's a great example of how confidence changed my experience, and I didn't get confident because I look any different. In fact, I probably look worse now than I did 2 years ago. I'm fatter, I'm older, and my clothes are holier and more worn out. But I decided about a year ago, and this a lot of this had to do with my dad dying, because that's a whole nother weird relationship. But I decided, you know what? I'm 54 years old, and that doesn't mean I'm old. I'm 54 years old, so I've got a good maybe 30 years to go. So why am I wasting time not having fun when I'm supposed to be? Faking my fun. Why am I doing that? I need to really have fun. And knowing myself the way I know myself, I know that I'm a good friend. I like people once I get to know them, once I no longer feel like I'm being judged, or somebody might make a comment about me, or their kid might say, hey mommy, why is that lady so fat, or something like that. Once I decided that all of that was okay, and I was gonna meet it with, my typical sort of off the wall exuberance, and then did it, that's when things changed, is when I actually did it. And it was a conscious decision that didn't have anything to do with me feeling better about myself. It had to do with me deciding to behave authentically as myself, and not hold back, and not keep from making comments about stuff when my crazy little brain wanted to say something, or keep from engaging people. I just let myself do that stuff, which has always been there. I've just kept it squelched down, and it's been kind of knocked to the ground by my feelings of insecurity. So, is that a mechanism that will work for everybody? I don't know. Is it a mechanism that will work for you? I have no idea. It is a mechanism that worked for me, and that's the point of my